Hey everybody, and welcome to The Void, a show dedicated to filling the void between being an employee and becoming self-employed. Most people refer to starting your own company as taking the leap, as if they're blindly jumping off the cliff and into the unknown. This show is here to help you understand that it doesn't have to be that way. As always, if you like what you're hearing on the show, please do us a favor and help share The Void with someone else who might be wanting to start their own company. We saw an opportunity to help others understand that self-employment is well within your reach, and just as our businesses have grown organically and by word of mouth, we want this show to grow the same way. So if you see somebody asking questions about starting their own service-based business, please do us a favor and send them a link to the show. I'm your host, Mitch Smedley, and with me as always is David Hilton.
Mitch, do you know what today is? And if you say July 5th, I'm going to punch you.
Today is our 100th episode.
100th episode. You know what? I fucked up. I was going to bring one of those confetti cannons and like try to sneak it in and boom. Layla burned them all up last night. There's confetti. There'll be confetti in my yard for 3 months.
Yeah.
At least 3 months.
You can have thousands of dollars in fireworks, but nothing will incite a riot faster than one of those little pull string confetti poppers going off right behind your head.
Oh, yeah. You will lose your shit. I'm always torn. First off, 4th of July is like it's one of my favorite holidays. Like
absolutely.
Because it's just a great American like reason to have fun, right?
Right.
My problem is every year I spend like way too much money. I'm gonna write down what I spent, and I want you to then you tell me what you spent, and then we're gonna see if we're close. I'm writing it down right now. I don't want people to think or you think that I'm changing the number based on what you said.
I wrote down. We're going higher or lower?
No, I'm just saying I'm curious to know what you spent. So,
you want to?
I want to know how much you spent.
So we went all out this year.
I know you did.
Because we had the visitors in town, right?
This is like my average, and I want to know. Actually, every year it goes up a couple $100 because of inflation. But I want to know what you think you spent. I spend way too much. Is the answer for me?
I'm gonna say we spent somewhere between $850 and $1,000 on fireworks.
Okay. I spent $1,400, and Joe spent $300. That's $1,700 worth of fucking fireworks.
Yeah.
That literally I just went outside and lit money on fire and threw it on the ground.
Oh yeah.
That's what happened.
You combine the visitors we had and then our neighbors from across the street, and we were definitely over that.
Dude, it's just like so the build up to it, I'm always so excited. I'm like, oh yeah, let's go. And I know a guy who he orders like a container.
Like a truck.
Yeah. And they come to his house, and so I get a deal on a lot of them, which makes it even worse. And then we go to the Pyro City, that's the building on 50, and get the stuff that he doesn't have. And like every year, I'm like, nope, we're not spending any money. And then the day comes, and I'm like, oh shit, I just spent $1,400 on nothing. And Janine's mad as fuck the whole time. And then the next day, I have the serious regret. Like I go outside and I look around, and I'm like, ugh,
this hurt.
I spent so much money, and there's just shit everywhere. It takes you 3 hours to pick it up.
See,
God, it was a great time.
We only get them if it's a deal, and you kind of have to run the risk, right? So like we go to the fireworks tents like 5 to 6 hours before dusk. On the 4th of July,
and hope they have some left. Yeah,
but what you're getting is like 70 to 90% off.
Yeah.
So like some of the stuff that we got, these big old cakes.
Yeah.
They listed for like $250. I'm like, there's no fucking way I would spend $250 on that, right?
Yeah.
And we get it for like $20, right? Because they're just trying to close, like they're just wanting to go home.
They got to get everything out of there.
We go to the Cornerstone Church one.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, yeah. And so like they're open 24/7.
Yeah.
So by the time that day comes, they're like just want to go home, and so they're like throwing free shit in your bag. They're like, just have these. I don't even know where these came from.
They've already made their money.
Exactly. So we spent that much money, but it went a long fucking way.
Yeah. Last year, we were like, my daughter loves 4th of July. It's her favorite day, right?
Yeah.
Well, midnight rolls around. She looks at me and she's like, Dad, I'm tired. I can't do fireworks anymore. I was like, what? She's like, I'm going to bed. And Joe and I are looking in the back of the mule, and there's like, we were lighting off 3 and 4 cakes at a time,
And there's still more.
And there was still more. So this year we like started early, and I'm like, dude, we're lighting these 2 at a time.
Yeah.
Until it's over, because I'm not going to be 1 a.m. out there lighting fireworks that I don't even care about seeing anymore. Mm-hmm. Oh, it was fun though.
So, we had these visitors in town from Canada, and it's kind of a funny story how it all unfolded. My son got a gaming computer 2.5 years ago, and he
Mason.
Yep,
Grant?
Mason.
Okay.
And so he finds, like, within 2 weeks, he's got this like new online buddy that he games with, and they got similar personalities. They jive well together. They like the same games, and so they just meet up and
they have the same time schedule. Where they can play
similar
stuff
time
like
schedule
that.
and all that kind of stuff. So they develop this friendship. Well, that was 2.5 years ago. They still play like 5 days a week, 7 days a week.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, they still play all the time. And so they came up with this crazy idea at the beginning of the summer of like, we should meet up. And this kid lives in Canada. He lives in Saskatoon, Canada.
Saskatoon.
Yeah. And so
a lot of provinces up there with S.
It's
provinces. Is it province or Providence? I think it's province.
I don't know, to be honest with you. I could go either way. Here he is. Oh, man, look at that. Austin got on the Googler faster than ever.
Yeah.
So
he knows he's about to get fired.
He's 1,265 miles away from here. Well, that family, here it comes.
Provinces.
Provinces.
Okay.
Got it. So he's 1,265 miles away from here. They wanted to see what it was like, what 4th of July was like in America. Because we have 4th of July, they have Canada Day. Essentially, it's kind of the same thing.
Fuck Canada.
However, I
met the guy today, so it's okay. He's going to be like, oh, man, come on, Dave.
Come on, Dave.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
He's such a nice guy, too.
So, it's essentially like celebrating their formation of government and their independence from England. Basically, Canada Day and 4th of July is basically where both the U.S. and Canada said, fuck you, England, suck it. You know?
Right. Austin's going to have to look this up because I have to challenge. I thought that Canada they broke away from France.
Hey, if you like what you're hearing on The Void and you want even more info, we just started a mentorship program specifically for trades professionals to start their business or to get their business to an incredibly healthy position. So if you'd like more info, click on the link in the description of this show.
They still speak French in Toronto and Montreal.
Well, I don't know. We were talking about it last night. Now, granted, we had a few libations.
Who did Canada get their independence from, Austin? Just Google that.
It's going to take him a minute. We were talking about it last night, and
we
were talking about how America was said, fuck you, England, and
and he was like, Canada said, fuck you, France or England. Maybe both. It could have been both, too.
French-Canadian is a thing, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm pretty sure that they broke
could be
away
both.
from France. I mean, I paid attention a lot in high school. During history, I liked history class like the rest. Who gives a shit?
Right.
It's amazing I graduated.
It says it's a national day of Canada commemorating the unification of 3 North American British colonies into the Confederation: New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and the province of Canada.
Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia, but okay. Oh, in the province of Canada. So maybe the province of Canada broke away from France, and then the other... You know what? We'll have to have someone from Canada send... You know what?
I could text him.
When our buddy figures it out, he will send you a message and we'll get it straight.
There we go. When he listens to this show.
Yeah, he'll send it in.
He'll be like, you guys are idiots.
You idiots. This is what happened. Or he's going to send something in that says, I didn't pay attention to history either. I don't fucking know.
On a side note, what I should do is have Google pulled up, but just don't record my mic, that podcast. And so people think that, wow, man, they're really smart. They're getting all these answers.
Shoot.
I'm in their ears just going
they'll see right through that.
Yeah, people know. People hear me speak and they know I'm not that bright. They just know.
So anyway, the boys come up with this crazy idea for them to come down, and we're all kind of like, yeah, okay, meet that person on the internet, right? Like, we do the typical parent thing where we're skeptical, right? And they're doing the typical parent thing where they're skeptical too.
Of course they are. They're like, fucking America?
Yeah.
Americans are crazy.
And so we're kind of feeling each other out. They're kind of feeling each other out and everything else. Well, by this time, he's found our podcast. And so he started listening to the podcast.
And he still came?
And he still came. It's kind of crazy.
and he still showed up.
Yeah. And so
that's true love right there.
Or he's insane also.
Yeah. And so the mom, they were trying to, not to convince the mom or anything else, but basically they were just like, look, there are people. It's the easiest way they could describe it. And sure enough, we get along with them great and everything.
That would be funny if you looked at, and like his dad also owns a Ford Lightning in Canada, and he has like a plumbing business.
Oh, we're about to get to that here in a second.
Doppelganger.
Oh, it's weird. Did you notice I started the clock 10 minutes late?
Yeah, I did.
See what happens?
Yeah.
So for those that are listening on Spotify, we changed the layout
We changed
of the room
our room up a
for
little bit.
episode 100, so you have to at least watch one on YouTube. Help us out, you fuckers. But Mitch got me all messed up. I can't start my time clock anymore.
His time clock had to move.
Yeah, it's like 5 feet. I can't barely reach it.
His arms are short.
I think I'm going to get a clock and just put it on Mitch's wall over
we have a clock.
It's off by an hour and a half or 20 minutes every time I'm in here. It's a different time.
It's off by an hour. I haven't moved it for daylight savings time. That's it.
It's 2:49. You're right. And it shows 1:52. It's off by an hour and 2 minutes.
So,
sorry, I'm getting you off track today.
Yeah. So they we put all the plans together and everything, and they're just going to come down for the 4th and hang out. And so they set the plans, and it took them 3 days to drive here because they drove here in their electric car.
First off, when I saw it, I thought it was a micro machine. And I
that
don't know
thing's tiny.
How do they drive it in Canada?
It's a Chevy Bolt.
It fucking snows up there
I know
5 feet a year.
Yeah.
And they're driving around this car that I could pick up and flip over, and I'm not big.
Yeah, it's tiny.
I could just feel like I could roll it over.
It took him 3 days to get here. But the cool part is he only spent $75 to get here.
Minus hotel rooms.
Well, correct. But you're going to, with a family of 4, you're going to break up a 1,200-mile trek in 3 days anyway.
No.
He says no.
If you're in a car that small with 2 kids and your wife, you want that trip to last, the driving part of that trip to be as short as possible.
Yeah.
I'm not extending that life cycle any more than I have to. I am literally okay, I'm going to get up at 4. We're going to drive.
NyQuil Jello for the kids.
And when I feel like I'm going to die, she'll drive. And then when she feels like she's going to drive, we'll stay in a hotel. One night, and then get up and go.
Just keep cannonball run.
Cannonball run.
And what's crazy, too, is, from, Saskatchewan, Saskatoon, from there to here, you got to go through a part of America that has horrible EV infrastructure, right? So
it doesn't just have horrible EV infrastructure. It's literally...
It sucks to drive through in a gas car.
There are signs, is it Nebraska or South Dakota? There are signs that say, look, hey, there's no gas for the next 300 miles, so if you didn't bring any, don't go. Yeah. That's what the signs say.
Well, when we were in that area, I was pulling that camper. This was on our trip to Yellowstone.
Yeah, you had gas in the back of the truck.
I had to put two 5-gallon gas jugs in the back of the truck because we were only getting 200 miles to a tank. Yeah. Pulling that camper. And yeah, you're right. There would be a sign that's next fuel stop is 300 miles. And I'm like, we're only getting 200 between fill-ups, and 10 gallons might not get us the other bit. And so here I'm driving as conservative as I can and off the gas down all the hills.
Yeah, just letting it roll.
And we ended up running out of gas 40 or 50 miles from the next station. Oh, so thankfully we were able to fill it with, the gas in the truck. We knew, we planned for it, but
you have to. Yeah. You can't drive across that part of the country.
Yeah.
Without extra gas.
He had one stop where he pulled into the charge station and only had 3% battery left. So, shit. He was running it close.
You know what? And this is my problem with EVs. And look, we talk about this on the show all the time. I have no problem with people that own electric vehicles. It's fine. Eventually we'll get there. But I'm scared to death. If you die, you can't just walk down to the electric station and get some more electric and then walk back and fill up your electric.
Right.
You got to go buy a generator or find someone nice enough to get you a generator and the plug and I don't know what they have. Do they have a 110 that you can just plug into a generator?
Yeah.
And then you got to have gas to run the generator.
Or you just call AAA and AAA tows you to the charge station and you just plug in.
Oh, either way, you're out money.
Oh, yeah, totally.
In 3 hours.
Yeah, totally.
Plus charging a completely dead battery.
Yeah.
So that costs more hotel shit. It's not.
It's a different philosophy for sure.
We aren't fucking there yet. Okay? Stop.
Like right now,
Stop.
it's like
Long range trips are still out.
we're a little past the early adoption phase. I feel like with electric vehicles.
It's just there's just not the infrastructure there yet. It'll get there.
I mean,
And I'm fine.
I
with
don't
it.
have any problems with it. I
don't
I got
either.
my fair share of excitement with it, but it's never let me down yet. The only part that's let me down is fucking Francis Energy Chargers in Oklahoma. But other than that, I've been good with everything. So
we started talking about that because we just wanted to. Obviously, 4th of July was yesterday. Today's our 100th episode, and we love. I know I do, and I know Mitch does. We love America.
yeah,
America's great. It's the greatest fucking country on the planet.
yeah,
And we bring that up to say, if you're a business owner or want to own a business, the only person standing in your way is you, because you literally live, except for your buddy in Canada, in the greatest country on the planet that all you have to do is work hard and you can get there.
right,
Right?
yeah.
Go America.
You can do
Do
whatever
the fuck
you put
want.
your mind to.
You can do literally whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, we've mentioned it on the show before that the people that have the biggest challenge starting a business in America today are in the current middle class because they're comfortable. They're not at rock bottom, right? If you're in the low class, the poor class, you
have nothing to lose.
You have nothing to lose. You only place to go is up,
Yeah.
and you know what absolute hell looks like. So you can vow to never go back there.
It's easier to get out of it.
Right.
Right.
If you're in the middle class, you have all these unknown fears about what poverty looks like. And you have all these unknown, unrealized assumptions about what it may be like if you were to lose everything. And so you allow the fear of you possibly losing everything to stand in your way of gaining, a lifetime's worth of freedom.
Yeah. I'd say it's a combination of exactly what you said and then people being it's easy to be lazy when you're comfortable.
Yeah.
Like it's not always necessarily the fact that you're afraid to lose everything or afraid to, go to poverty. It's that you're just complacent.
Yeah.
Like it's easy to just sit on the couch and watch fucking Netflix.
Yeah.
And do not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's easy to do that, which is we're going to take a little weird turn here, but like that's why I think it's weird that Mitch drives so hard all the time. Like Mitch is the typical American middle class kid.
Right.
Like,
I don't have a reason to drive hard.
no, that's why I'm bringing it up. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's like literally it's just a mental mindset that you decided, nope, this is what I'm doing. Your parents are not that way.
Nope.
Your brother is not that way.
Gosh, no.
You came from a very nice home. Parents are both still married to this day. I mean,
Yep.
there was no wanting in the Smedley house. Like when we were all kids and we'd go over there, we're like, dude, there's food in here.
Yeah.
There's beer in here we can steal. Dude, they got a bumper pool table and a foosball table, and they got a boat. We can go on the lake. And go, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the fact that you've literally made it up in your own mind to say, oh no, I'm going to even be greater than that. Like,
Right.
To me, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Because I see people all the time that we know and grew up with, and they're doing nothing.
Right.
They came from even better families than yours, success-wise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they've done literally nothing. They just sat around on their fucking ass.
Yeah.
Like, and I say that because, like, when I was a little kid, like, I come from a broken home, which wasn't a huge deal, but we were dirt poor when I was a real little kid.
Yep.
Like, so I know, like, that's what drives me is, like, my kid's not going to live like that. And
Right.
I'm not going to live like that anymore. So that provides me motivation.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow you have managed to do it with no motivation in that area.
Right. Well, and so you go to the extreme. And we talked about this, I think, in episode 1. You take somebody that emigrates to America.
Yeah, I was going to bring up my friend Byron, but
Yeah. You've got somebody that emigrates to America and they become wildly successful. And you wonder why. Well, they didn't have any more advantages than you did.
no, but they had the drive.
They had the passion.
Yeah.
Right? They had the vision. They knew what rock bottom looked like. Rock bottom was literally poverty in a foreign country with no opportunity for growth.
Yeah,
Rock bottom was literally like a stowaway on a boat
yeah.
like to get over here, or a stowaway in a train or a car or something, right?
Yeah. And it's extremely impressive when you look at their lives and you're like, you did this from that?
So
like, holy shit.
I've never met this person. I've only read his story one time, not even friends with him on Facebook or anything else. But one of my friends on Facebook was sharing this story of one of his friends. He was one of 3 survivors on a boat from Cuba. The boat had like 54 people on it.
Ooh.
Like 51 of them died. Only 3 of them lived. He was one of them.
Yeah, so now every day is the greatest day of his life.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's like,
and now he's like crazy uber successful, right? And it's not this black and white thing of, oh, well, he should be because he went through that. No, he is because he went through that, right?
Yeah, right.
He didn't just rise to middle class and say like, this is good enough. No,
he kept going.
He's seen the extremes.
Yeah.
And he knows what it's like to lose everything. He's been there, so he's not afraid to do it again.
Yeah.
Right? Most of the people that are wildly successful know exactly what it's like to not have anything, and therefore they're not afraid of it.
Yeah.
Whereas you get your middle class people with your Netflix and your cable and your car and your DoorDash and your apartment or your house or whatever, and now all of a sudden you fear being uncomfortable. You fear losing your Netflix. What would I do without Netflix? What would I do without my car? What would I do if I couldn't DoorDash a meal?
You might get up off your fucking ass. That's what.
Right. and they get, they totally get run over in business by somebody who's eaten ramen noodles every day for a year.
Yeah, because that person is like,
I'll go back.
Watch out.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I don't run you over, I'll be fine.
Yeah. I can eat ramen noodles again, but if this play works out, I'm set.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work out, guess what? I'm eating ramen noodles again. Big deal. I've done it before.
Well, and the other thing is like they are literally willing to sacrifice everything to get there.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, you know what? I had those ramen noodles and I know I can go back to it, but I don't want to.
Right.
So my competition, good luck.
Right.
Get the fuck out of my way.
All things that are possible in America that aren't possible in a lot of other countries.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. So
for all you socialist turds out there that think that that's like the way to go, it's not, because then we all get run over by the very small % at the top. So just, you know, pull your head out of your butt. Stop being stupid.
Yeah. Talking with our friends from Canada, we got a little bit of insight into like because you never really know until you talk to actual people, right?
No, you just know what you read.
Yeah, you know what you read, you know what you see, but it's all through filters and it's all decided for you based off of all that stuff. So, talking with him, we got a little bit of an insight into, how things are running in Canada, and they're very similar to the U.S. They have 3 parties over there, and I'm drawing a blank on what they call what would typically be their conservative party.
The best party. We'll just call it the best party.
Okay. They also have the Liberal Party, and then they have what they call the New Democrats. And the New Democrats would be kind of like the socialist idea, but the socialist idea was a little too extreme. And so they had to kind of tone it down a little bit, and then they've kind of been like absorbed into the Liberal Party. Yeah. Very like, what does this sound like? It sounds like the U.S.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but he said that, it's very similar to the U.S., where a lot of the Liberal or Democratic Party is in the highly, densely populated cities that have a whole host of their problems of their own, but a majority of the country, land mass wise, a majority of the country is on the conservative or Republican style party. But yeah, they share a lot of the same struggles that we do with people seeing eye to eye and all of that kind of stuff. But their government is a little bit different in the fact that, like, Trudeau, their president, he can't easily be removed like ours can.
No.
Like, there's a little bit more processes in place to keep him in there.
And he can do a lot more.
Yeah.
Without having the government say no. Yeah. And that's the whole thing that makes America great is it's called checks and balances for all of you that skipped history class. Yeah. Like Congress, it has to go through Congress. Then it has to go through the Senate. Then it has to go through the president. So if any one of those things is out of balance, they can stop anything else. Not to mention judicial. We won't talk about that. But Like up there, he could be like, nope, we're doing this.
Right.
And a lot of times they just have to deal with it.
Yep.
Like when they had the COVID shutdowns and the trucking shutdowns and all that stuff, he was like, nope. And they started freezing people's bank accounts and shit. I wish I could have talked to him for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Did you hear what they're doing? Like some new gun control thing too. Like no new guns after a certain day, and if you own them and you die, then they have to be destroyed. Which is weird because...
Well, they're trying. He said that it's not nearly as bad as the media makes it out to be. It's very similar to the U.S., where the U.S. has like the NRA combating all that. Like,
okay.
Like, yeah, you have these wild, extreme ideas of things that they want to do, just like in America. They want to get rid of guns and, all these wild, extreme ideas. But then you have, like, in reality, here's what's really going to happen.
Yeah.
But, like... We were both agreeing on this one thing. There's a graph floating around where on the bottom of the graph, it shows it's like a bar graph or a line graph. And on the left side of the graph, going up the edge of the graph, it is your knowledge of history. And then on the right side of the graph, it is, or on the bottom side of the graph, I mean, it is your trust in the government.
Oh, yeah.
And basically, it's just a proportional line that the more you know about history, the less you trust the government.
Yeah, because you know what they've done to you.
Yeah.
Like that they're trying to control you all the time. People are just like, oh, take my stuff.
Yeah. So...
that's funny.
And they do the same things where they try edgier things in low-income areas because they know those people don't have the means to...
Yeah.
Like push back or argue or fight or even maybe even the education level to know that this is not right. I
think that happens a lot here too.
Absolutely.
People literally, they turn on the TV and then like whatever they see, like, so if you're low income and you turn on Fox and you watch Fox, you're like, nope, that's it. They're telling me.
Yep.
That's what you turn on MSNBC. Oh, nope, that's it. That's what I'm telling you. That's what they're telling me.
Right.
And it's like, dude, you've got to...
Yeah,
you have to read informative information and form your own ideas.
Yeah.
And try to learn the truth the best you can.
Yep.
But like you said, when it's low income and low education level usually is what follows low income.
Oh, yeah.
Then they become, screaming lunatics for one side or the other. And it's just a shit show from there on out.
Yeah, yeah. And they rely on that and they need that, right? Like any political party needs a certain amount of uneducated voter base that's just going to blindly follow them.
Yeah.
They need those masses of votes.
Yeah. They do.
Yeah.
You could tell like which areas here are low income because you see people wearing masks outside when it's like 100 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you think like, aren't you like in pain and miserable?
Yeah.
And they're so afraid from what they've been told that they're just
easily controlled and easily manipulated.
Yeah.
Right.
It's awful.
We went to Crown Center, which is like a entertainment district downtown in Kansas City. And I hadn't been down there since I was a child.
I haven't been down there since the Royals won the World Series in 2015 for the parade. That's the last time I've been down there.
So I was in the area, like for the Royals parade and for the Super Bowl stuff and all of that stuff. Like I was in that area.
But you didn't like spend time going to different places.
Yeah, but like the parade kind of goes through the edge of Crown Center, and you're not really like you're just in the area. You're not like in the shops, right?
Well, you could be, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
And so we went down there. We took this Canadian family down there, and we went to Legoland and the Sea Life Aquarium. And they're kind of a joint venture next to each other.
You get one ticket or a combo.
A combo, right. Yeah. And there's propaganda inside those.
Oh, yeah.
You go into the Sea Life Aquarium and like literally every exhibit is talking about what you can do to make a difference in the sea turtle's life and what you can do to make a difference in this one rare fish species life.
Yeah.
Right.
Stop using gasoline. It won't kill. Don't use plastic.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the wall that's holding the aquarium up is made of plastic.
Right.
Resin.
And it's written on a plastic, sign.
Don't use plastic.
Yeah. And meanwhile, right next door is the Legoland exhibit, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what are Legos made out of?
Metal, right?
Yeah, not.
Is it metal?
So,
well, what people also get wrong too is they'll buy into that, but they also don't change their habits as far as like spending all this extra money on DoorDash and food and entertainment, where it's like they're trying to live at like two extremes. They want to they think they're making world-changing efforts by donating and to help sea turtles.
Yeah.
But then it's like,
but then they don't change their personal habits to help the world.
Well, like what Jordan Peterson says, like start by cleaning your room. Like,
they just throw money away.
Well,
that's like literally no one. We're gonna get off topic. I know it. Like for the world to be changed at the level that people that put up those signs want the world to be changed at, there are no more cars. There is no more indoor plumbing. You have to now install an outhouse and go outside and take a shit when it's 10 degrees out.
Right.
Like none of those people are really willing to make those type of sacrifices, which is what it would take for us to meet the goals and crazy goals that people have set out.
Yeah.
So, just makes me so mad that people are so dumb.
Yeah. Well, and like if you can't change your house until you can change yourself. You can't change.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, you can't change your neighborhood until you can change your house. You can't change your city until you can change your neighborhood.
Yeah.
You can't change your state until you can change your city. So, like, all of these people have these big, grandioso efforts to make big change, but they're walking around morbidly obese with some of the most unhealthy habits imaginable.
Yeah.
They have no discipline whatsoever. So, like, Andy Frisella has a great saying. He says, personal excellence is the ultimate rebellion. And he's spot on with it. If you want to rebel against anything and you want to have a shot at being successful at it, you need to be exercising personal excellence to the highest degree, because you're not going to have a shot at rebelling against the city, moving in townhomes where you don't want them, unless you know how to make that impact. Well, like, take steps back, right?
Yeah.
If that's happening right now and you have zero level of personal excellence, you don't stand a chance at stopping the city on this one.
Yeah.
Practice personal excellence. Practice making changes personally. Then move forward. Practice making changes in your household. Then move forward. Practice making changes in your neighborhood or in your city, and so on. And that is how you end up having an impact. You can't just go straight to fight the city or fight the big giant battle and expect to have an impact, because you don't know how. And until you know how personally and within your household and within your neighborhood, only then will you know how to make big change massively, right?
Yeah. People think they can just jump full on head into anything and realize what is actually going on,
right?
Or how to dictate change,
right?
When they can't, like in layman's term, like you just said, can't dictate change in their own life.
Yeah, and the same goes for work too, right? So like you
have
100%. You have a guy who thinks he true story. So some of the guys that I work out with on Sundays, they were
I'm not one of those guys, for all of you wondering.
Me neither.
Yep.
But you knew that.
We know Austin.
Yeah.
Not afraid
we
to
don't
admit.
need to state the obvious.
Not afraid to admit that.
So,
are you guys still doing it at Dog Pound?
Yep.
On Sundays?
Yep.
Does Tyler still go?
He doesn't go. He's
not on Sundays anymore.
He's probably only there 1 out of 10 times, which you don't blame him. Like, he runs the gym, he owns the gym.
He wants to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, he wants a day off. So, but one of the guys there, his cousin, I think his cousin, owns the pizza shop across the street, and it's
Stop. Which one? The pizza place?
The pizza place. Yeah, they got banger pizza.
First off, I love the pizza place.
Yeah,
it's delicious.
Yeah. So
I didn't know I could be getting coupons, discounts, free pizzas.
So he was telling me a story about a young man that he's in his 20s, but he's kind of like Dazed and Confused, right? The main character in Dazed and Confused.
Love that guy.
Played by Matthew McConaughey.
First off, the main guy in Dazed and Confused is not Matthew McConaughey.
Well, okay, one of the main characters, the character that's played by Matthew McConaughey.
Okay.
Where he's stuck in the previous generations, right? Where he's older, always hanging out with the young kids, can't seem to get his life straightened out, whatever.
I envy that guy. Just
well,
a side note.
You know, they stay the same age, right?
I keep dating girls in high school because I keep getting older and they stay the same age.
Yeah. So, this pizza shop had an employee come on that was similar to that, right? He's like in his 20s. The average age in this pizza shop's like 16
We're gonna
or
go.
17.
We're gonna go to a weird place because I worked at 2 pizza places.
Yeah.
In high school.
So this guy in his early 20s gets a job there, right? And he's one of those guys that, for whatever reason, just can't seem to hold a job anywhere. And so he's there.
He has no focus, right?
No. He like day one, he's trying to tell them all the things that they're doing wrong.
Oh.
And it's like, dude, it's your first day. They've been in business for a while. Pretty sure they got this figured out, right? So hold your tongue, right?
Yeah. Day
2, he's mixing mac and cheese, or he's like gloved up, and for some reason, for some reason, he's got his hands like in mac and cheese, right? I don't know if it's because they mix it by hand with gloves on or what. I'm not sure.
Might.
Yeah. And he looks over at the worker next to him, and he says, "You know what this reminds me of, right?"
Oh shit.
And he drops some innuendo. He's in his early 20s. This girl is like 16.
First off,
and so
side note,
obviously he didn't. That was his last day.
Don't hire
day 2.
Don't hire anyone under 18. Like, I know you can as like a server or like a hostess and stuff. Stop. Okay, because most of the people that work in the food service industry, and I was among one of these people, we're mostly losers at that age.
Perverts. You say pervert like I say loser.
Pervert, loser, looking to. I almost said something really awful. I mean, looking to just do things you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
Like, stop hiring girls that are under 18 in those establishments unless they're a hostess only. I don't care. Like, if my daughter comes to me and says, "Well, my friend got me a job as a hostess at Fiorella's Jack Stack," fuck no.
Right?
No.
I know what goes on in restaurants.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
stop.
They gotta hire some age, right?
But anyways, on with your story. So he's a creeper. He gets fired.
So he gets fired on day 2, right? And
what was the comment? Did he say?
Yeah. What do you think? Putting his hand in warm. Macaroni and cheese.
This feels like a nice, juicy.
Yeah, I mean, take.
Like, is that what he said?
Take it wherever you want, right?
This show is taking a left turn.
But ultimately,
can you get fired for that? Oh, probably these days. Like when we were first off, when we were 17 and 18, you're not getting fired for that. They sit you down in the office and like, dude, look. What are you fucking
HR
doing?
will have a heyday with that.
But now, yeah, you're probably getting fired.
Right.
I said worse shit than that at the jobs I had when I was 18.
Well, yeah, they're construction jobs. I
may have known on...
You can't take a pizza shop employee and put them at a...
I worked at Pizza Hut until I was 19.
Yeah.
And things happened at that store that would wreck your mind.
Take it to the grave.
I'm not... Yes. I'm not. I'm just saying back then, like, you just got pulled in the office and like, look, dude, you can't be smoking joints out back on break and then come in and be making pizzas.
Have you seen
the manager
your hands?
And then the manager would wink at you like, dude, wink, wink, don't get fucking caught. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, that's what they would say. Now it's like,
how dare you not invite me?
Yeah, now it's like, now you're fired.
Yeah.
You're telling me you grabbed Jessica's ass like as she walked out of the walk-in?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it was firm.
You're fired because I'm jealous.
Yeah, it wasn't you're fired. It was it tight?
Yeah,
it was a tight ass, dude. It was nice, dude. If you do that again, I'm gonna have to fire you.
Yeah.
And then like 6 months later, that guy's stoned, doesn't remember. You do it again, and then he's like, "Hey, next time you do that, you're gonna get fired," because he's done forgot.
Yeah.
Now you're fired on the spot for any fun stuff.
Have you seen the Facebook reel that floats around? It's a safety guy that has this channel, and he's really funny. And he puts this funny filter on his face, and he plays 2 characters, right? He's got the safety guy character without the filter, and then he's got a real goofy face filter on.
I've seen one of those, but the guy doesn't put a filter on. He's just wearing a hard hat.
Yes.
And he's a worker, and then he goes over and he's the boss manager, HR guy.
Yep.
Like, I have seen that. Look, you can't be doing it. And then he goes over and he's like, "You motherfucking goddamn motherfucker." Yeah, I've seen those. They're actually really good.
So he's got one where he's like, the HR guy is like, "You know why you're in here, right?" And he goes, "Yeah, I think so. Yeah, well, apparently you gathered all the employees up and told them you got a handmade Christmas gift for them, and then while they were standing all gathered around you, you flipped them off." and he was like, "Yeah, I thought it was funny." And he goes, well, you can't be doing that. And so I'm going to have to write you up. And then the employee goes, well, I got you a gift too. And he's like, oh, you did? And he goes, yeah. And this one came from the heart. And he flips him off too. And he flips the HR guy off again. And he goes, don't spell my name wrong on the write-up slip this time.
That's what I'm talking. You can't, the world now is just, you can't have any fun.
No.
Like what? It's the no fun league.
Like,
right? It's just like, what are you doing, man?
I mean, every business technically has an HR department. It's me and Danielle that wear the HR hat, right? So we keep it to a dull roar, but at the same time, you got to have fun at work. And so we still have a lot of fun at work. I mean, shit, one of my plumbers drove his golf cart over to my house yesterday.
Can we stop? Well, I just want to say this real quick. In no way or shape or form are we at the Void or Tradewinds telling you to do things that aren't HR compatible. Disclaimer, if you do it and something happens, don't try to sue us because Mitch is an idiot. That's what I'm saying.
Also, side note, we still haven't wrapped up the story about the guy at the pizza place.
Well, yeah.
We're getting there.
Okay.
He got fired.
He got fired.
For saying this macaroni and cheese smells like a wit. Boop. He got fired.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can't go into a place and try to show them what to do when obviously they've run the place really, really well.
Yeah.
But then also you got to watch what you say, right? You got to be a little bit PC. But I mean, shit, one of my plumbers yesterday came over and drove his golf cart over in the middle of all the 4th of July celebration stuff. And
like, is it dark out?
Oh yeah.
Is it the guy that lives in your neighborhood?
Yep.
Okay.
So he comes over and he shares a beer with me, right? It's kind of our holiday tradition for Halloween and 4th of July. He comes over twice. First time he comes over, we share a beer. I give him a beer. Second time he comes over, he gives me a shot.
Oh, nice.
So he's just perusing around the neighborhood, checking out the whole place, you know. The two holidays where
neighborhood
intermingling amongst the neighbors is perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, so we don't have an HR department. Here my guy is smashed on a golf cart.
As long as he's not wearing a Smedley Plumbing shirt.
He may have been.
Then now you got to have a talk.
We got a 4th of July parade in the neighborhood tomorrow, and it's possible that I'll be driving our little miniature go-kart in that parade, and I can't guarantee that I will be 100%
Stop right now. You guys have
athletic.
We know you're not athletic. You're telling me that you guys have a 4th of July parade put on by your neighborhood HOA?
Oh, yeah. The kids decorate their bikes, and you do best bike in class. Do
you like fireworks, or they just do a parade?
My neighborhood thinks they're kind of bougie, so they all have golf carts. So
Yeah,
they'll
I
decorate the golf carts and have that parade.
Yeah.
I'm
like,
entering the miniature go-kart in the golf cart category.
You'll probably win.
Well, so my buddy Spencer, my plumber, he's on the committee, the votes.
Oh, you're winning.
No, last night I told him flat out. I said, see to it that we don't win. Like, I don't want to. I'm going to have fun, but I don't like. The last thing I want to do is take the joy away from some kid who spent all day running streamers in between his bicycle spokes.
Why? Why?
Because it's a freaking $1,400 go-kart that we put together. Like,
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, why do you have the parade?
Oh, why do we have the parade? It's just fun to promote neighborly stuff. What's funny is it still causes division.
You fuckers don't have enough shit to do. I told Mitch this today. If you need stuff to do, come to my house. Yeah. I will put you to work.
I got plenty of work.
Apparently, people in this neighborhood don't have enough struggle and don't have enough shit to do.
See,
they just don't have it.
I got in trouble at Quick Trip a few times for HR stuff. Except them, they record video and audio 24/7.
That's not good. So I've been fired 2 days.
So when you get the call from the boss, he's like, "Yeah, so I heard you making those." I made some Mexican jokes while I was at work. And he's like, also, I heard you say some stuff about me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I did say a lot of stuff.
I did say a lot of shit. You know what I said mostly is you're a fat waste of fucking space.
Yeah, and if you were a good leader,
do it now.
If you were a good leader, you would realize that imitation is the highest form of flattery, for one. But for two, if that stuff offended you, maybe you should do a better job.
Yeah.
Well, I made a joke. Well,
he made more jokes about Mexican. You know what? My friend Byron Alvarez, I'm gonna send him over to your house.
Well, no, the thing
he's a real Mexican too.
Like in an actual workplace.
The
thing is, in an actual workplace, like when you make Mexican jokes, like Mexicans think it's funny, and they'll make jokes about themselves back to you.
Yeah.
Like
it's the whole PC thing is bullshit. Like so.
Yeah.
So my friend Byron, like his daughter and my daughter played soccer together. And they were on the same team for a full. I don't remember if it was a full year or 2 years. But anyway, like he would walk up to me and just like make the most racist white guy joke ever.
Yep.
And I laughed and didn't care. And then I would, make fun of him and he would laugh. And then we would go to lunch and we would drink beer. And it was, you know what? It's okay to be friends with people that aren't the same skin color as you.
And
it's okay.
And it's okay to talk about the stereotype differences between you. Like it's called humor.
Well, and it's called, all these people want to act like, I don't know how we got off on a race. I don't know why we still have him. He has a mic.
No,
I don't fucking understand why he still has a mic. I'm going to take his mic away from him. But it's like, if the real problem is you cannot be friends with someone that's a different, everyone thinks you cannot talk to them about the issues. Like you can't go to your black friend and say, hey dude, this is what's going on. And we should talk about it. What do you feel about this?
Right.
Like, what's your opinion? Because all of the media and everything has like built this whole thing up as, oh no, you can't talk about it. No, the only way to reach a point where no one is racist ever is to have conversation and be friends with each other.
Yeah.
And it's like no one feels comfortable enough to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Like I ask my friends that aren't white all the time, I'm like, hey dude, what do you think about this?
Right.
And I know they're uncomfortable. Like they're like, dude, they just look at me weird. They're like, it's like you can see in their eyes they want to say, should we be talking about this?
Yeah.
Yes, we should be talking about it.
Absolutely, we should.
If we can't talk about it, it's unbelievable. Like, this whole thing of, it just being a racist country and people are just racist and this and that and blah, blah, blah. White people are born racist and Mexican people are born racist. No, they're not.
Right.
My daughter, Layla, her two best friends are black girls at her school. She's been over there twice this last week swimming in their pool.
Right.
When we go over there, we're fine. It's fine. They're best friends. I don't even know if they know they're a different skin color. Do you think they care?
Not at all.
Of course not. They're best friends. They don't give two shits about any of that kind of crap.
Right.
It's people that want to be divisive have like found out a way to like drive that wedge all the time.
Absolutely.
And just say, nope, this is how it's going to be. We're going to be divided all the time.
Yep.
Why?
That's social currency.
Why? Why can't I just go up to my friend Kevin, who's black, and be like, hey, Kevin, what's going on, man? Like, we literally had this conversation one day. We're standing there, and we're talking about movies, and he lists these movies off, and he's like, have you seen that? And I was like, yeah, I've seen that. Have you seen that? And he's like, well, those are black movies. And I was like, dude, Friday is like one of my favorite movies of all time.
Right.
And like then you can kind of like break that stereotype. And I'm like, dude, this is one of the first real conversations we had. I was like, dude, I don't care what like it doesn't. I don't give a shit if you're black. It doesn't fucking matter to me. I don't care.
Right.
Like we're just like I like talking to you, and our kids play soccer, and we're friends. I don't care. It's
part of it.
Like he was nervous bringing that stuff up around me.
Right.
Like he thought I was going to be some kind of racist weirdo, and like I could tell, And I was like, dude, that shit doesn't bother me.
Right. Yeah,
I don't care.
So our visitors from Canada, they were talking about some motion that's causing a lot of buzz right now in Canada, where the nation is trying to make it a rule that only accredited media agencies can talk about current events on social media. And
first off, I like that idea, but the problem is, how do you decide who is accredited?
Here's the problem.
That's the problem.
I don't like that idea because basically what they're doing is the ABCs, the NBCs, the CBSs, all of those things, those are the only ones that get to talk about
That's what I'm saying.
Issues.
That's what I'm saying. How do you decide who those people are?
Right.
Like, well, I can see
the idea is, so their purpose behind it is to muscle out independent journalists.
Yes, that's what I meant by that.
Is their idea is to muscle those guys out that are giving you the actual truth rather than the liberal narrative or the Republican narrative or anything.
Well,
the spin.
And that's what I meant. Like, so if the government's deciding, you're in trouble.
Absolutely.
I like that idea as far as if there was a true 100% independent fact-checking organization that decided, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
But you know that can't happen.
It's impossible for that to happen.
It's impossible, which is why we have the First Amendment here.
Yeah.
Which is why you have to have free speech.
And that's the moment a government begins to control the flow of information, what's that remind you of?
World War II, Nazi Germany.
Exactly.
So what they would do is they would literally have all news was filtered through them.
Yeah.
And so the only thing people heard, I don't know why we got on political topics, but this is literally
this isn't political. This is history.
This is literally what's happening in this country now. Like literally, Rachel Maddow, stupid, worthless bitch. Like she did a deal, and I know that she was part of it, and her bosses were part of it. They were like, "Well, we cannot air Trump's speech about X, Y, and Z until we decide that you people need to hear it."
Mm-hmm.
Like you get what?
Yeah.
Like they were like, "No, we're gonna filter it, and we're gonna narrate, and we're gonna decide because we don't know if it's good for you." Is basically what she was saying. That is Nazi Germany propaganda.
It's no different than the presidential debates.
That's not the right word I meant to say, but
no, it kind of is.
I mean, it is propaganda on what they're pushing, but literally, when you decide what to filter because you don't view it as your truth, I'm doing quotes again. I don't know why I do this. Your truth, quote unquote. That's a problem.
Yeah,
that's literally filtering people's First Amendment right.
Yeah.
And that's literally what happened in World War II.
Yeah.
And then all those people, got together and were like, "Oh, nope, Heil Hitler."
Right.
It's just like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah. It's how it's a snowball effect, right? It's not like when you look at how all that happened.
You talking about World War II?
Yeah.
Well, that's what. Have you ever heard any of the interviews that they've had with Jewish people or and not just Jewish people, but people in the neighboring countries? They're like, "How did you let this happen?" They're like, "No, it wasn't overnight. Well, it was just like one little thing would happen, and then we would accept it, and then the next thing would happen, and we would accept it, and the next thing would happen, and we would accept it, and then we accepted the last thing, and next thing you know, they were packing us up in vans and shipping us off, and it was too late."
Right, and
that's like the slow play of death.
All of those little things that happened were hidden under the disguise of hope that things would get better. We're going to do this little thing.
Yeah.
And they would spin it that this is a way for things to get better. And then we're going to do this other little thing. We're going to have you wear a star. And this is actually better for you.
Yeah, so that people won't mess with you.
Yeah.
Like
and now all of a sudden they're rounding up everybody wearing stars.
Yeah.
Right.
It was literally like I watch a lot of documentaries on that, and it's just like it's the saddest and most intriguing thing.
Yeah.
Like that's why I think people keep watching that stuff, because literally it's been out for 40 years and people keep watching it because it's so intriguing that kind of...
The people that care about it, yes.
Well, it's intriguing that kind of stuff could have happened. You know what I mean? It's just, it's unbelievable to me. And,
yep.
And I just, this is kind of like, I'm not trying to compare like religious people to what happened in World War II, but like people all the time that are religious are like, "Oh, well, it'll be fine."
Yep.
Oh, that's exactly what they were saying. "Oh,
yeah.
Well, it'll be fine. You know what? It won't get that bad." And then when you look back over the last 20 years, you're like, "Holy shit, it got bad."
Yeah.
Like real fast.
Well, and so you mentioned religious. There's a lot of people that put blind faith in God to do things that they should be doing themselves.
Yeah, God's literally screaming out his window right now, "Hey, pick up your fucking guns. What are you doing?"
Right.
Like, I gave you the means to buy weapons, and I gave you a country that allows you to have weapons, and you're just standing around like a bunch of fucking dumb goats.
Right.
Getting ready to get shot. What are you doing?
Yeah, there's a lot of people, even on the small scale, not even on the country scale, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I want a job, or I want to be better at this, and so I know God will provide for me, and like he provided you with the ability to think for yourself and the ability to learn and grow. So think for yourself, learn and grow, and develop the skills to get the better job.
Yeah, you literally drove by 4 now hiring signs on your way home,
yeah.
and didn't stop at any.
Right.
Because you're waiting for a sign from God.
Yeah.
You passed 4 signs.
Yeah.
Literally 4 signs. What are you doing?
Yeah. Get your ass in gear.
Get a job, you bum.
Yeah. And so like there was somebody that posted on our local community page talking about how they're looking to find a job and a job that pays well enough that they can get their family off welfare and all of this kind of stuff, right? And they posted anonymously, and I usually don't even comment on anonymous posts because I think it's the most chicken shit thing ever. And so I said, look, I don't know who you are. I don't even know what kind of job you're wanting to get into. However, here's the way to master any job out there. You get hired. You learn their system. It's their system. Their business is built around their system. You have to respect their system. You learn their system. You learn it better than anybody else there. And then you constantly search for ways to add value to the business and its customers.
Yeah. And
if you can do that, you will rise to the top super fast. And literally her post was, I'm having it. I can't keep a job. I can't find anybody willing to pay anything. I can't, all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
She replies to me.
Meanwhile, just a side note, they will hire anyone right now and pay you a lot of money to do nothing.
Yeah.
Because there are no workers.
Yeah. So she literally replies to me and she says, I have no problems doing the job once I get the job. Well, obviously you do. Because your post said you were having a hard time keeping a job that pays well enough to get you off of welfare.
Yeah.
So
sometimes you have to prove yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And it's like, okay, that, like, I don't want to bash this person or anything else because I don't even know who they are. But you can't sit there and recognize the fact that you've had several jobs that all paid like shit and not think the problem is you. Right? Now, maybe the problem's not you. Maybe it's your job selection criteria, ability. Right? Maybe you just keep picking shitty jobs.
Or
I don't know.
Maybe you keep picking jobs that you're not actually qualified for.
Maybe. I don't know.
It could be a lot of things.
Yeah. But to take a response like that, and that my response got very low. Like it only got 2 reactions. I think one person liked it and one person laughed at it. But meanwhile, all the other comments were all of these places that are hiring worker bees.
Yeah.
Hiring.
Pick one.
Like, get at it.
Pick 3 and go on 3 interviews and then pick one.
Choose which one's best for you.
Yeah. It's because people they like the pity bucket. They just like the pity bucket.
Well, I mean, I've heard it time and time again that if you have to ask more than 3 people for advice, you don't want the actual advice. You just want attention.
Yeah, that's true.
And like,
I think we've talked about that.
Yeah. Like,
yeah, you're 100% right.
You just want the attention that comes with it. So,
look, I don't mean to push you to move on, but we've been talking for an hour and we still got 2 to go with.
Yeah.
I liked that stuff though. You know what? So I'm going to say this again for those that are on Spotify and stuff. Watch YouTube. I like this.
Yeah.
I feel like
we face each other better.
I can see Mitch. I feel like there's a
He keeps playing footsie with me under the table.
That's not my foot. What else do you want to talk about? So,
I got this cool little chat bubble thing on my website. So I'm constantly like...
Are you talking about Smedley Plumbing, right?
Yep, okay. Yep. So as we talked about before in like marketing and everything else, you have your tried and true proven stuff. And then you have like this small amount of budget where you're just taking guesses on shit and throwing darts at the wall. And eventually you find darts that stick really well. And then it becomes tried and true and proven stuff. Yeah. And so I threw a dart about a month ago. And I got this little chat bubble thing on my website.
You threw 57 darts.
And
1 hit.
I threw a lot of darts.
This one hit.
This one's pretty cool. It's this little chat bubble thing on my website. And so, a lot of times when you see a chat bubble on the website, it's this fake AI generated like bot responder to where you can text them, right?
I hate those.
I hate it.
I close every one. Close.
Exit out.
If it keeps coming up, like if I close it in 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3, and it comes back up, I will leave the website and do something else. I will go to another competitor and be like, nope.
So this chat bot takes the first couple seconds of the video that you record. It's a video recording of yourself.
Okay, so you record a video like on your laptop or phone or whatever, and then send it.
Yep, and I just misspoke. It's not a chat bot, so I gotta quit saying that. it's you think it is the split second you see it, but then you quickly realize it's not.
It pops up like a chat bot, but it's not a chat bot.
It's a concierge bubble is what it is.
Ooh, concierge.
And so
That's
basically,
a big word for you.
I know. If they click on the little bubble on our site,
Okay.
what they get, so before they click on it, it's a bubble of me sitting at my desk, like waving at them. And it's got a little thing that says click here. So when they click here, it's basically a video that I recorded myself. And it's welcoming them to the website and giving them a crazy fast high level tutorial about the company. And then once they've clicked on it, they're seeing all this. And then there's 3 buttons to click on right below it. And like one is to go to our Google reviews. One is to, if you want to call and set up a service call, click here. And the moment they click there, it just calls us. And then the other one is like, if you'd rather text us, you can click here and just text us. It's completely changed the engagement on our website because now people don't have to like navigate our site. Now people don't have to find all the things and everything else. Like if they've clicked on the bubble,
it's like a little informational, like an instant
concierge.
Spoken informational.
What's the main reason people go to your site? They want to check out your reviews. They want to call you. They want to text you.
Yeah.
Right. Nobody goes to your site because they just want to, I'm infatuated with plumbing and I want to learn what their website looks like. Like,
I mean,
if anything, they're going.
There's probably a couple crazy fuckers out there
maybe
doing that.
But they're not our customers, right? They may be web development people or some shit like that.
Yeah, maybe.
So like this takes them
Stalkers.
straight to like the meat of the site.
Yeah. What
Call
they want to
us,
see.
text us, check our reviews.
That's cool.
And you can change
I've
the
never
buttons.
seen that before.
Yeah, you can change the buttons around. You can do all this kind of cool stuff. And
Why don't we have one on Trade Ones?
I mean, we could. Like,
okay, maybe
hey,
maybe we'll be doing
here's
it.
the brass tacks of why ultimately that's what it is like what's the brass tacks of your website's function.
Interesting.
And then you just guide them to it.
What's it called? Well, I want to check it out.
I don't know. I just call it my little bubble on my website.
I meant like if I wanted to look into doing it for trade wins, where do I go?
I'll reach out to the guy, and by the time this show airs, I'll get us a little link to where, like, if on the description of the show, if you click on a link, you can find it.
I don't care about that. Will you send me the link?
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
God, it's like pulling my own fucking teeth out sometimes with you.
Ultimately what I'm getting at with this is
You're
like
killing me, Smalls.
to follow up on one of our previous shows where we were talking about throwing darts in following up with them.
Marketing, yeah.
That's kind of what this was a dart throw. And I mean, it's crazy. Like you get some crazy high level stats coming back from this. Like the bubble was open, like day one of this thing running.
30 seconds. This person went to this first. Like that kind of stats?
Yeah. Like he'll give you a pie chart of like this many people clicked the Google reviews. This many people clicked call. This many people clicked text. Our phone this morning was blowing up with text messages and it's never done that before. And it's because of this damn chat bubble. And it's people wanting work. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. We had like 7 text messages this morning. And it's all from this chat bubble. It's pretty sweet. So
did you get some work from it too, you think?
I don't know. I'd have to follow up with Danielle and see kind of how all that progresses. So
interesting.
But yeah, it's pretty neat. So don't be afraid to throw darts and check out like new things. If you want this chat bubble thing, I'm out over my skis here, but I will promise you that I'll have a link in the description of this show for you to check it out by the time this show airs. So
I've noticed Austin has written nothing down while we were having this fucking conversation. Austin, write that shit down.
He'll get it.
You sent it to me already.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that you saying like you kind of gauge like how well you're doing? Like if I'm doing this, I'm like, okay, I'm doing. But then if you see me,
yeah.
You know,
he's off.
I just like one little. We'll move on, but one little point about that. You know, I think it was 1 episode or 2 episodes ago we were talking about marketing and how much money you're spending and this and that. Blah, blah. Like, and that's why we think it's very important for you to have a set aside money for a marketing budget. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, I'm going to spend $1,000 a month in marketing. Okay, 500 goes to this, 250 goes to this, and then that gives me 250 left over for throwing darts at things I don't know about yet.
Right.
And this was like one of those for you, and now it's paid off and it's working well.
Well,
but if you don't set the budget and and you're just kind of willy-nilly, and then instead of spending $1,000, you've spent 13, and then you've spent 11, and then you've spent 900, and now you've skewed your numbers all out into fucking no man's land.
Right.
And you don't have any more expendable income for things you need, like truck oil changes and employees and all that. That's why you have to set your budgets and know your numbers to know, hey, this is the amount I have, and this is the amount of free cash I have to throw at things like that, and experiment with things to get leads and sales and, stuff like that. So,
yeah. And I think, if I remember correctly, this bubble thing was like $1,000 a year. It's not
cheap.
crazy expensive.
That's
right?
cheap.
Especially because you're giving them rapid access to get a hold of you to book a call. So
yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Interesting. What else you want to talk about, dude?
So last thing we're going to talk about. All right, so you've newly started your company and you're trying to pinch pennies. However, you don't realize the biggest thing that's hurting you right now is not gathering all of your information into one spot and making it super efficient for you to use. So the answer is Field Pulse. It gets you off of paper tickets. It gets you off of all of that crazy office work at the end of the day and reconciling all that stuff. And it lets you organize everything with ease. It puts it all into the computer. It actually puts it all into the cloud. So it's not even putting it on your computer. And it lets you organize your customers. It lets you organize all of your service calls. Heck, it'll even route you to your service call. And the best part is, even after all of that, you'll probably realize about a 100% growth in your business just in the first year of using Field Pulse. So if you'd like to check out Field Pulse and see what great looks like, click on the link in the description of this show. They will never think like you. And so the sooner you stop expecting them to, the faster you'll start to become successful. And this is kind of a twofold topic. The first part of it is your employees. Your employees will never, ever think like you. So stop expecting them to. The second fold of that is your friends and family that are not in the business that you're in. Maybe they are business owners, but they're not in your business. Or maybe they're not even business owners.
They're not... It's not even that. Like, your wife works for you, right?
Right. She doesn't think like me.
No, she will never think like you.
Right.
Or how you view things, because she doesn't have the experience that you have.
Yeah.
And as a business owner, like, literally everything falls on decision making that you've made now and will make.
Right.
Right? And so you have to be able to, how do I want to say this without being a jerk? You have to be able to be hard on people and be soft on people at the same time. Does that make sense? You can't.
Some of it's that.
You can't hammer on people all the time because they're not going to think like you all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can't be super hard on them. But you also can't think, they're never going to think like me, so I have to hold them up all the time. And be super soft on them and always be caressing them, and it's going to be okay. You have to find that delicate balance of, where is my thinking process at with my employees and how do I handle each one? Because they're all different.
Right.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. So like even beyond that, or even before that, if like, you need to get beyond the idea that your employees are going to start thinking like you. You're a business owner. You have things that you have to worry about that they don't have to worry about. They don't have to worry about making payroll. They worry about getting a paycheck. They don't have to worry about paying for insurance. They worry about paying their copay. They don't have to worry about paying the truck payment of what they drive. They worry about needing to get gas when the thing needs to get gas, right?
Yeah.
So if everybody thought like you, there would be no need for you. And the sooner you come around to that idea, the faster you will accelerate in business.
Yeah, I know a lot of guys, just because of what you said there, like, as business owners, like, they don't understand that.
Right.
And so what that does is it stresses them out to the point where they give up.
Yeah.
Or they fire people they shouldn't be firing. You know what I mean? Or they take on more because the phone girl won't answer the phones like she's supposed to, so I'm taking that on also, which drags the business down.
Right.
Like, you have to have a real independent thought process of, how am I handling those situations so that I can get the best out of those employees?
Right.
You know what I mean? They don't understand the fact that, like you were just saying, they don't think like you.
Yeah.
They think that they should, and then because they don't, they take on too much.
Yeah. Yeah. And ultimately, it's just different perspectives. It's different positions in life. If you're in the employee position, you have expectations from your employer. And that is your employer is going to set a good framework for you to work within. They're going to create some great boundaries for you to not get hurt, but they're also going to create a framework for you to excel, right? Your employees aren't necessarily visionaries. You're the visionary as the business owner. Your employees are doers. They're going to do what you tell them to do, and they'll probably go to bat for you 1,000 times over as long as you can paint a good vision for them. They aren't the painters of the vision. They are the I don't want to say followers.
They're the paint.
They're the ones doing the work because they trust your vision, right?
They take well, it's kind of like our relationship is like you have the vision, and so it's like you communicate, I need this video to be this long, I want to do this, and so I take that and I'm like, okay, these are the guidelines. So it's kind of like, how our relationship is.
Yeah, you're structuring, the business and the job structure and the employee structure, and you're guiding them to fit within that structure.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? And then if they wanted to be a business owner, they wouldn't have that job necessarily. I mean, some would and some move on. And I'm not saying that, but lots of people, if they want to be a business owner, they're going to try to be a business owner and then maybe fall back to that. Like if they wanted to run the business, they could do that. You just have to. I'm not sure what I exactly want to say about that. Because they're not, like you were just about to say, you don't want to say they're followers because they're not followers.
Yeah, I think
they're not. But they almost. You almost have to treat them as if they're followers as a business owner, even though you don't view them as that.
They're inspired promoters of your business if you're doing it correctly.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And you've done a good job of painting a path of success for them. And if you do these things, you will be successful. Right? You're the visionary. You're the one who created the path. You're the one who created all of that. So without that, they wouldn't have the first clue on how to be successful. And I'm not
in your structure.
In your structure, right?
Yeah.
Like you owe them the creation of a structure that allows them to be wildly successful. And if you don't have any structure and they don't know what right looks like and they don't know what success looks like, they're never going to be successful, and then they're going to grow to hate you because they're working for you and they're not successful and they don't know why. And so as the leader of the company, it's your job to paint the picture, paint the vision, lay it all out for here's what it takes to be successful. And if you do these things, you will be successful. And now they still have the discipline, they still have the drive, they still have the purpose to put in all the work to do those things. But if they do them, then they'll be successful. I see a lot of newer employers go wrong because they'll hire employees and they'll be like, I don't know why this guy wasn't thinking about that the night before, right? Like he knew he had this big job coming up and he should have been thinking about that, the night before and getting his game plan ready and everything else. No, that's not.
He doesn't owe you his entire life.
Right.
If he was willing to do that and be that involved in it, he would own his own business.
He would have started his own company.
Yeah.
Right.
And lots of people, like we were talking about this a little bit earlier before the show, is lots of people, that's why they work for. I know guys that if they started their own company, they would kill everyone. They would they are great salesmen. They have a great personality. They know the numbers inside and out, but they don't want to deal with the 24/7 aspect.
Yeah.
Like they want to go home and shut their brain off.
Yeah.
Like my wife is a great example of this. She was a manager at Research Medical Center over CT radiology, basically all of imaging for like 10 years. Okay. And she literally got to the, like to have that position, you literally have to, you're on call 24/7 for questions over the phone.
Yep.
Scheduling when people don't fall out, all that kind of stuff. But eventually it got to the point where she's like, I don't want to deal with that anymore.
Right.
Like, no, you don't. You're literally running that entire department and you don't own the hospital.
Right.
And she's like, no, okay. So she took another job, but that's what she wanted to get to was when I leave, the phone is off. And that's the difference between employees and business owners. When you get home at night, you're thinking about the next stuff. Even when you're talking with your wife and having dinner and doing that stuff, Mitch is always thinking about, okay, what about this?
Yeah.
What about that? What am I going to be doing here? That employee owes you nothing when they leave the job.
Right. If they're off the clock, they're off the clock.
That's hard for business owners to get, especially like you were just saying, first-time business owners. Mm-hmm. When they leave and they go home, they fucking owe you nothing.
Right.
They are not managers. They are just employees that work for you and do the job.
Yep.
So stop being so fucking hard on them.
And that's why I do a pretty good job of this, of explaining like my text and phone etiquette to all of my employees, because I'll tell them flat out, if I text you, it is not urgent.
It's on your time
You
clock.
get back to me when you can, right?
And Mitch and I have, since we've been doing the podcast, it's the same way. If I text Mitch and he don't respond, I don't care.
Right.
If he texts me and I don't respond, he don't care. But if you call,
yeah.
Thanks for returning my call yesterday, by the way, you asshat.
We were off the clock is different.
But yeah, no.
Yeah.
And that is a conversation that you owe to your employees, so that they're not thinking, oh, he's on me all the time, he's texting me all the time, and that means I have to be on all the time.
Right.
Like, that's a good principle that you have set in place, right?
So I got basically 3 rules. Text and phone etiquette rule number 1. If I text you, it is not urgent. So text me back when you can. If I call you, I may be looking for an answer right away. However, if I don't leave a message or immediately respond with a text, disregard. I'll find somewhere else to get the answer, right? Now, 3rd rule, if I call you and leave a message or immediately follow it up with a text,
something happened.
Then I do need a response right away.
Yeah.
Right?
Like the house that you were at today, they called and said there's water everywhere. I just need to know the repair you did. I need to know what happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
and by having that, they know, like, say a guy had a real stressful day and Mitch texts him as his boss. He's like, man, I don't want to talk to this fucking guy. Work sucked.
Don't worry about it.
But if he calls and says, hey, dude, something happened. There was, oh, shit. They know, oh, it was something important. He's not just trying to be a dick. Something really, like, he needs me at this moment.
Yeah. And so if you can implement some kind of rules like that, that helps break down the barriers between you thinking like you and them thinking like them, right? You're on, as a business owner, you're on 24/7. You're on in your sleep. You're on when you wake up in the middle of the night and take a leak. You're on in the shower. You're on date night. You're on while you're sitting in the church pew and the sermon, goes some direction and it sparks some idea. And now all of a sudden your brain's derailed, right?
Yeah. Like Mitch, and I know Mitch and I are both like this, because he will text me at like 5 in the morning or 5:30. And how often do I text you and it's like 6?
Yeah.
Like, I'll be getting up and getting ready. I'm like, oh, that's good.
If I text it,
and I'm on it because we're both literally, and I'm talking about trade wins more than anything. Like, I'm literally trying to think about what we can do for trade wins.
Right.
Like, how do we get, you know what I mean? So when he responds to me, it immediately activates my brain function. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
just one of those things where, like, if I'm texting you, it's because I'm thinking of it right now. It doesn't mean I'm expecting you to be thinking of it right now.
No, but I usually am. If it's early,
maybe.
If it's early,
yeah.
Like late, I'm usually out. I'm trying to like decompress. But like if it's early, I'm like, oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And that's how I know. And this is a little off topic, but that's how I know that Mitch and I are on the same wavelength with trade wins, because we're both like literally trying to crush it at other things, and then still that shit's going on.
Filling this in the nights and weekends.
Yeah.
So like, ultimately, as soon as you understand they'll never think like you, it opens the door for tons of possibilities. As soon as you can recollect that, like, oh yeah, of course my guy's not going to think like me. I've got 20 years experience. He's got 2. I've got business ownership experience. He's only ever been an employee. I kill it in the customer satisfaction game, and he's an installer that doesn't have to worry about building relationship. He's like, I'm just going through scenarios, right? Like,
no, I get it.
As soon as you can recognize that they don't think like you and why, now you can leverage that to get them to be much more happy in their own job.
Well, and what I think it does for you as a business owner, especially, is it relieves a large amount of stress off of you. Because you're constantly thinking, why is this happening? What is going on? What is this? And you're worried about it. You're literally like, why? I don't understand. I'm worried. But the second you can understand or not understand, the second you realize the difference between you and your employees, it almost like it lifts a weight off of you.
Right.
And you're like, okay, they're not doing it intentionally.
Right.
They're not trying to hurt the business. They just don't know, and they're not as engaged as I am.
They just think differently.
Yeah, and exactly right. They think differently, and it's okay.
And they may, like, here's a twisted way to think about it. They might be just as engaged as you are. You're engaged at 100% capacity. They might be engaged at 100% capacity. The difference, their capacity is lower than yours.
Yeah.
So they literally might be giving you their all. It's just their all doesn't match yours.
Yeah, it doesn't have 20 years of being stretched out.
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't encompass everything yet.
Yeah, so don't judge them based off of their capacity. Judge them based off of their effort in that arena, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not huge on... I'm not a big proponent... Like effort is one thing, results are another. But you have to compare the effort, like...
You have to compare with the amount of effort you're getting with the amount of effort that they're even capable of putting out.
Exactly. So their max effort and your max effort are two completely different things. And as long as they're given max effort with the tools and the knowledge that they have, that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, and if they're being compensated way above their max effort level, then that's on you.
Yeah.
So, if you're paying them, this is completely hypothetical. If you're paying them $15 an hour and they're giving you their max effort and they're putting out 10, you've screwed up when you hired them at that level.
You need to make a correction.
Yeah, or if they're the other way, if you've hired them at 10 and their max level is 16, you also screwed up and you need to figure out a way to make that right because that guy may end up being a rock star.
Right.
Like, if you get a guy that knows nothing but's giving you 100% effort all the time, that guy could be your manager someday.
Yeah, could be.
He could literally change the face of your company, but because your patience level isn't real high, because you're not understanding exactly what's going on, you could miss an opportunity.
Yeah.
And listen, we miss opportunities every day in business, but when you can pick out a gem here or there, whether it be employees or opportunity or whatever, it could seriously change the face of where you're going.
Yeah. And that all starts with recognizing that they think differently than you.
Well, it all starts with recognizing that you have to spot that stuff.
Yeah.
You have to be in charge of recognizing what's going on.
Right.
And too, like, I'd like to add, it's like Mitch and I aren't this way. We're like really good at communicating, but say if you're an employee and you're in a situation where you find yourself unsuccessful, but you don't know why, something you could do. And with every video I do with Mitch, like the first question I ask is like, what's the goal? Like, what do you want this video to be? And we sit down and we talk about it. So if you're an employee, a practical thing you could do, if you're confused of what your employer wants, it's okay to be like, hey, like, I want to align my vision with your vision. So then you're both successful versus being the employee that's like, well, I'm just blah, 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 blah. I don't know what they want. And like, well, ask them. Hey, I'm confused. What are we doing?
Yeah. And if you're an employer and you're seeing that your employee is struggling, maybe it is because you're just not on the same wavelength.
Absolutely.
Maybe they don't understand what your vision for their job is.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But ultimately, like, if you're rolling through employees back and forth, and you're the one going, nobody wants to work anymore, chances are you're failing as a leader to recognize that they don't think like you. Well, and if you can get them to think like you, they're going to be self-employed. So you don't want them to think like you. You need to recognize that they do think differently, and you have to build your process around what success looks like, even though they don't think like you.
Yeah, and like you were just saying, if you're rolling through 10 employees a month, I mean, the average case scenario there is 5 of them are your fault and 5 of them are their fault.
Maybe.
Okay, I mean, that's just law of averages.
Yep.
I mean, it literally, if you're going through 10 a month and that goes on for 3 or 6 or 8 months or whatever, half of the problem probably is you and the other half is actual employees.
We just hired another plumber here in the last week, and so we've been in business.
I applied. I got shot down.
Yeah.
Application thrown in the trash.
Yep.
So let's see. We've been in business coming up on 3 years at the end of this month. And this is employee number 12. and we currently have 8 on staff. So
You have 8 plumbers on? No.
8 employees.
Oh, okay.
8 employees.
Gotcha.
So we've hired employee number 12. This is, and we've got 8 on staff. So that means we've only lost 4
They've lost 4
over the last
employees.
3 years.
Well, don't say it like that because you've only hired 20 total.
No, we've hired 12.
12 total and lost 4?
12 total, lost 4 over the 8 years. So
You know what that percentage is, don't you?
33.
I think that's a D.
bullshit.
Actually, I mean, at McDonald's, I think the turnover rate, I think it was like 50%. So if he's at 30, that's pretty
Well,
good.
if you hired 10 and you fired 4, that'd be 60%.
Well, you said 12.
So 12,
12
4,
to 4.
8. What is that?
Let's go 75.
78%?
75%
my head.
retention rate, 25% turnover rate.
Yeah,
that
so that's
bad?
pretty good. That's
Is
pretty
that good? Dude,
That's
you-
fucking amazing.
I mean, at McDonald's, it was 50%.
Okay,
like, if we
it's
could
not
do-
fucking McDonald's, Austin.
Yeah, but I mean, but still, it's 25% better. You
Oh,
know?
man.
75% retention rate, 25% turnover.
What are you going to do when you have to fire your wife?
I don't know. We're both looking forward to that day.
Move out?
No, she'll probably be like, "Thank you."
I don't mean fire her for like because you don't want her to have to work anymore. I mean fire her for like she's fucked up.
Insubordination.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, bitch, you know what I said.
I mean, it's like whenever you go to watch like Kitchen Nightmares with Gordon Ramsay, it's always the relative who's,
Yeah.
it's like, isn't that kind of strange? You
No,
know,
I've
it's like,
never watched that show. I have no idea what
Yeah,
you're talking
you got to
about.
fire your dad.
Yeah, it's always the dad or the
I
son.
would love to fire my dad. Dad, you're
Dad,
fired, bro.
it's just not working out.
It's just not working out, man.
And it's so obvious. You're like, why is this person not performing? Well, it's because he's worked there for 30 years. He's amazing, and you're paying him like $10 an hour, and you're stealing his tips. I wonder
Right.
why he's not staying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't
'cause
just
he's
find
thinking-
good people.
Because he's looking like he should stab you in the throat.
Yeah,
That's why.
And he's the only one in the kitchen.
Wrap it up, dude.
I know
we're
we've gone on forever.
at
So
130. Hey, it's episode 100.
it's
okay.
episode 100. We ran long.
I
So
would like to say a personal thank you to everyone that's listened,
yeah,
and my friend Mitch for letting me do the podcast with him way back when.
might even start paying you one day.
I doubt it. You
I
still
doubt it.
owe me like for 4 months of Phil Pulse money. No, but seriously, it's been a year and a half.
Yep.
It's been good, man.
Yeah, it's been good. It's
Appreciate
been
it.
real good.
It's been great.
100 episodes in a year and a half. That ain't
Yeah.
bad.
No, it's not.
We are, and
Thank you, listeners.
we're in the top 5% of podcasts globally. So
Are we really?
yeah,
Based on what?
I didn't share with you that.
You did, but it didn't say anything.
Yeah,
Like I knew it said, and I thought he's making
on
this up because
Facebook.
it didn't like say what it was.
yeah,
For
top
what?
5% globally.
Okay, I thought he was full of
How
shit.
about that? Well, let's just be honest. It's a
Most
lot
are
of
shit.
a lot of it just comes. It's a war of attrition, right? A lot of podcasts don't make it to episode 100.
Yeah.
They don't make it past episode 30.
Yeah.
And so if you make it to episode 100, you're doing significantly better than most.
I think
And we've got hundreds of more episodes in the tank.
I will say this. When Mitch and I get together, no one can fucking stop us. When
Nope.
he's on his own and someone says you can't do that, he's like, watch me.
Yeah.
When someone says that to me, I say, hold my beer, bitch.
Watch Mitch.
Watch.
What gets me is like whenever
See, that's good. That's
it
good.
gets me because you'll see packages in the
Oh,
microwave. They're just
man.
like, let cool for 5 minutes after heating. I'm like, no, I'm grabbing that right away.
Yeah.
Fucking take it and run, bro.
I want a tongue that I can't feel for 3 months.
That sounds. Never mind. We'll
That's
just wrap-
eating piping hot stuff out of the microwave. Get your minds out of the gutter, fellas.
No comment.
All right, we're going to wrap this up.
No comment.
If today's show brought you value, if you learned something from today's show, please do us a favor and whatever platform you're listening on, go right now and leave us a 5-star review on whatever platform that is. Also, feel free to share this show with anybody else who you feel might need it. This show provides a lot of value, and we do it absolutely free of charge. So, until next time, guys, we will see you later.
Love you guys.